I've got change for us all. Isn't it? Restart.
Big move in Bitcoin then, in contrast to all the notes I wrote pre-show, which were telling me that this was going to put Bitcoin under pressure. What's
the narrative that perhaps this launch of these political meme coins will sap flows from Bitcoin is showing us that it's really not the case this morning. If anything, it's just accelerated the momentum and the excitement around cryptocurrency under another Trump administration.
Hi, Dewald. What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Are you smoking your socks? You should rather watch my show. You should rather watch my show.
All right, legends, welcome to another live stream. I put the music on there in the background. There we go. And whoo, this drop we got here last night to the downside. Well, last night South African time to the downside. It just looked like it wanted. It looked like it wanted to come and grab the low over here. And just before it grabbed the low, it got the bounce now here to the upside. So what I want to do today in today's update, we're obviously looking for some scalping trading opportunities. I want to go and analyze this little structure over here. On the 1 minute, 3 minute time frame, we can go and look at this structure because there's a chance, okay, there's something that needs to happen with this structure for us to turn bullish, right? But at the moment, it still looks like a three-wave structure. And for now, there's a chance to come and claim this low here to the downside. Legends, the most obvious level still to the downside is when you take a trend-based fib, okay, like I highlighted yesterday, from the high to this little low to the high, okay? If price, okay, and this actually looks like a beautiful backtest of the level, but if price had to lose this zone over here, okay, maybe it goes up and it loses the zone, it finds resistance, okay, and it falls to the downside. The next area of confluence, the interesting level that I'm watching over here is $72,900. Okay. The reason this level also has nice little confluence is when you go to the 12-hour time frame and we go and look at this entire structure over here. Okay, this is how we build confidence. Legends, we have to be prepared. Things are bad out there, right? The tariffs war is on at the moment, and this could really negatively impact the markets for a little bit longer. So we need to have those levels to the downside to play these nice little bounces to the upside, because if you had this fib pool, for example, this was a significant bounce here to the upside. Beautiful, right? You tap resistance, you take profits. Nice little move here of a couple $1,000, right? How much is that? About $4,000 move. You can make a lot of money from a day trading perspective with a $4,000 move. Remember to hit that like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Also, legends, what I have done just to show everyone over here is I have cleaned up the description. Down in this video that you're watching right now, if you open up the description, okay, you can show less, you can show more. You will see I have Weeks and Bluffin. Right, my two favorite exchanges that I'm using to trade at the moment. If you have not signed up with any of these two exchanges, I highly recommend that you do, because this is where you get the biggest sign-up bonuses and lowest trading fees. Okay, on Weeks, you still get that 50% cash back on the money that you deposit on your features in your features account. So how it works is they have a cap of $1,000. So if you deposit $2,000 into your features account on Weeks using this link, okay, you will get another $1,000 to trade with. It's an amazing deal. You also get 25% discount on your trading fees. It does take 48 to 72 hours, and then the Weeks team or the exchange will deposit the money into your features account. So you need to leave your money there for at least 72 hours. And then on Bluffin, you get 10% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account. So if you deposit $5,000, you will get $500 extra to trade with. Okay, and also every time you move $10,000 worth in volume, you get an opportunity to spin the wheel for some amazing deals. So legends, the links that I use is down in the description, where I give you guys the best deals with that the exchanges has to offer. Right, legends, now the question is, okay, on the larger time frame, I'm just going to do a quick little recap here on the larger time frame. Okay, on the larger time frame, the level to the downside is the 1.618. Okay, so watch this level over here. If I zoom out, okay, this is how you build confluence, or this is how I build confluence from a technical perspective. If you take a fib from the low to the high, it also has confluence with a 0.618. Okay, so this zone is a very interesting zone if we do have another dump to the downside. You can see that this 0.618 also has confluence with the highs over here. So definitely it's a bouncing zone. I'm not saying that it's that bounce. Okay, because we can also get that bounce from where we are right now. We don't know, but we trade level to level. But it can be a significant bounce that puts profits back into your bags. Okay, so from a confluence perspective, keeping the analysis very simple over here, it's the $72,000 area is a very interesting zone if we do still find momentum to the downside. Okay, basically it's the golden pocket over here. The golden pocket, okay, when you have on the 12-hour time frame a macro trend inside of the golden pocket, it's usually a good bouncing area. So that is if we do lose the zone. And now I'm going to analyze the structure, the 15-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute structure in terms of, well, what are the probabilities of still moving down, or are we still going to move up slightly higher before we fall down? Okay. Right, let me take this out the way. Let's go into the 5-minute time frame. Right, legends, and I will go through comments in a moment. Okay, hi Dewald, just entering my car and have you live on the background. Perfect. So Anthony, what I will try and do is I will try and highlight the price levels, because I know some of you listen to me, you don't watch. Okay, so I will highlight the levels as well. So legends, this structure to the upside is so far a corrective structure. Okay, this cannot be counted as a 5-wave structure to the upside. It's a 3-wave structure. This high did not claim the high. It's not a truncated 5th wave. Okay, I'm not even going to entertain a truncated 5th wave scenario because of this zigzag move to the upside. Right, the problem with this structure, okay, is that you always increase the probabilities of taking the low because you have a 3-wave structure. And when we started falling down here, I was like, oh, is it now, right? But I would have considered a swing failure pattern from the lows, because it could create that swing failure pattern. It grabs the liquidity below, everyone that's shorted like crazy maniacs over here, believing that we're going higher. They put their stop losses underneath the low, and it just grabs the liquidity, and then it continues back to the upside. So I was waiting for a swing failure pattern from the lows, which we did not get. Perfectly fine. Okay. But now the interesting thing is, okay, for the bulls, for the structure to remain to the upside, it does not carry high probability, but it's not been invalidated. Okay, if this structure is still going to go to higher levels, right? Let's call it, I would say the $82,000, $81,000 looks the best, because from a resistance perspective, I would expect a nice little reaction at this zone over here, purely just looking at the price action. Okay, you can see massive resistance in this zone. Support, 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 support. Okay, you lost it. And you've actually already retested it over there. So I'm just dragging it up ever so slightly, because now you've already... So what I'm trying to figure out over here, legends, is when you've already tapped an area, okay, then what I like to do is I like to move it up ever so slightly, because now it looks like if it's going to come back here, it's most probably going to tap this area over here. I'm looking at that order block over there, still in alignment with resistance, but nonetheless, this is a resistance zone. You can see this is resistance. Okay, I'm not going to be too finicky about exactly where that level needs to be. Okay, you can see it's resistance, whether you put it here, or whether you put it here, or whether you make it bigger, it's resistance. You can see it's resistance, right? Okay, let's just do this. It's a resistance box over there, right? So there's a chance that the structure can still get there and reject. Okay, now the question is, this little structure needs to give us a clue, because the only way in which this structure can still form a bullish structure and not take this low or this low again is in a contracting diagonal. It's the only way, right? Because of this ugly move here to the upside. So this could potentially, I mean, legends, it is very early to talk about a scenario like this. I typically like to talk about scenarios like this once the third wave and the fourth wave is in. So you potentially have a 1, you have a 2, you're going to create a 3. You see, you get the rejection for the 4, and you go back up for the 5, and then you get a larger corrective structure that corrects the entire structure. Usually, I like to talk about contracting diagonals when this wave is in. Okay, you can see it's still very young. It's not actually a probability that I even want to discuss. But if there's any chance for the bulls to not take these lows, this is the structure that needs to form. Okay, because that's a bullish structure. If it forms any other type of structure, it's most likely going to come and take the lows again. Even because this could be a W, X, Y to the upside. It can, it can form multiple structures, A, B, C, A, B, C. It can form a corrective structure that is not contracting, which increases the probabilities of taking the low. Okay, so now for the interesting part, okay? Remember, legends, if you'd like to come and trade with me, the links are down in the description. Okay, now I want to zoom into 3-minute time frame. I want to look at this little structure that has formed over here. Is there a chance for the bulls based on this little local structure that is now forming to the upside? Okay, because at the moment where the structure is, I can count this as an ABC. A, B, C, which is done. It's finished. We're not going to take the high and we're going to start falling down. Okay, that's the bearish case scenario. So if this structure is finished in an ABC, there's a chance that you're going to roll over and take the low. Okay. For the bulls, we have to form another wave to the upside. Okay, so in a nutshell, legends, what you're looking for is a 1, 2, this is 3, and we're now busy with the fourth wave, and we're still going to go up for a fifth wave. Once I see this structure form, this structure, the retracement is going to be very interesting, because then there's a chance we can go up for higher levels. But at the moment, it's a 3-wave structure, and this could be building impulses back to the downside. Okay, this was a shorting zone that I highlighted inside of our Legends Pro community this morning. If you'd like to join, the link is also down in the description. Okay, unfortunately on Binance, let me show you guys what happened over here. Okay, so this is the trading scenario that I highlighted this morning inside of our Legends Pro community. And for those of you that are here, you know exactly, we've had the conversation. Okay, quite a lengthy conversation. I had my chart here on the log scale and I stuffed up the levels on the buy. But anyways, let me explain, legends. Is the first thing you want to do is you want to take, I just want to take these trend lines out the way. Okay, you take a fib, okay, from the high to the low, right? And you can see where we got the rejection. Even if you take the fib from this low, okay, we're rejecting there by the 50% Fibonacci. Okay, okay, there's a couple of ways you can look at the structure. I was also looking at this structure of 1, 2, maybe this is 3, and it's building a 4, and it's going down for a fifth wave. And this is why I am still considering a swing failure pattern from the lows. If we successfully reject over here and we do not claim this high, because we have not tapped the 0.618, it's still a valid fourth wave. Okay, and there's a chance that you could sweep the lows and complete the fifth wave and get acceptance back above. And this is why I'm still considering a long from the lows. If price does not tap the 0.618 and it falls here to the downside, and it gets acceptance back above, this is where I long, this is where I put my stop loss. Okay, right. If it goes and taps that 1.618 level that I've just highlighted on the larger time frame, even better, because then I can have a better entry to the downside. But I need a level to enable me to practice good risk management. I hope that makes sense. Right, so legends, this is now the conundrum. Okay, is this still forming a fifth wave to the downside? And this was just an ABC. Remember, I said ABC because with an impulse, you have an ABC corrective structure and then you continue momentum to the downside. Right, but based on this structure, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it has to come to an end in this zone. It's very unlikely that it's just gonna tank to 68, 50,000. It's just gonna fall to the downside. It needs to come to an end over here. Then it needs to correct itself. So you have a 5-wave structure. You have a 3-wave structure back to the upside that can even come and claim the 4th wave over here. This is the long that I'm looking for. But then I will be aggressively looking for shorts, because once you claim the low, okay, and you get the retracement back to the upside, then you can tank drastically to the downside, because now you have an impulsive wave in a wave 1. You create a wave 2 and you go down for a wave 3. That can get really nasty to the downside. Okay, so you guys can see, you know, it's a tug between the bulls and the bears here at the moment, but I love it because it provides trading opportunities. So from a bearish case perspective, okay, there's still some long trades that I see over here. If price does successfully not claim the high, not claim the 0.618, remember this is the invalidation for the 5th wave. It starts falling down from where it is right now. Then I will consider a swing failure pattern from the lows. Okay, there is some targets. If you guys would like to know how to work out a 5th wave target, okay, there's a couple of ways to work it out. The one that I see gets tapped the most is you take your trend-based fib from the high of 1, okay, to the low of 3, to the high of 4. And the 0.618 is a 5th wave target. Okay, so if you want to sniper it, you don't want an entry over here. Okay, you want an entry a little bit lower down. Well, that is the zone you need to pay attention to. And obviously, to the downside, the two most respected targets is, well, the most respected one is the 0.618, but I have seen the 786 gets tapped as well. So I will be paying attention to these levels. If you want a sniper entry over here, okay, you can use these lines as swing failure lines. Okay, for those of you that are wondering what on earth is a swing failure, and for those of you that do know, please bear with me because there's always a lot of new people joining the streams. Okay, so when I have an area of interest, a line of interest, okay, I have 2 over here. I will wait for price to dip below. I'm not entering, because if I'm looking for a long and price is below my area of interest, I'm not interested in a long. If price gets acceptance back above, which means it trades above my area for the long, this is where I long, so that I know where to put my stop loss. It enables me to exercise risk management, and it also shows strength. Okay, it's getting acceptance back above the level. Or you could wait for acceptance back above the low, right? Even better, but you'll have to apply less capital because now your stop loss is further away. So that is what I mean by a swing failure. Price is basically failing to break down. Okay, it's failing to break down. It gets acceptance back above, and that's a sign of strength. In a nutshell, that's basically what a swing failure is. Swing failure patterns for me are one of the best trading strategies, because it's what people refer to as stop loss hunts. Have you ever been in a trade and you put your stop loss below a recent low or at a certain place, and it feels like the market is hunting your stop loss, and then it turns around and it does exactly what you wanted it to do? That, my friends, is swing failure patterns, and we can trade them. Okay, and what that basically means from a simplicity perspective is that I just want to take some of these stuff out the way. Okay, so what it basically means is everyone that played the long here to the upside, thinking that we are going to continue, where did they put their stop losses? Yeah, they put their stop losses below this low. Okay, so it creates a liquidity pool, right? Then what happens is you now have your low. Price dips below, it stops everyone out. Okay, how often have you seen this? And then it continues. That is a swing failure pattern, and we trade these very successfully. Okay, and they also give you the best risk management. It does take practice. Okay, because I think some people just go in too heavy with these positions and then they bite their nails and price starts falling again. They move their stop losses and they liquidate. So you can really, you know, stuff up these swing failure patterns if you're not sniper about it and you don't practice good risk management and you don't let your stop loss get hit. It can, you know, because if price just continues to fall here to the downside, okay, and you went in with a 50x or 20x position and on your entire account, okay, that's how people wreck themselves. But we don't wreck ourselves here, because I know the people watching this live stream at the moment are experienced, because there's no retail left, right? I mean, retail's gone. Okay, tariff wars, Bitcoin is falling, stock markets have crashed. Things looks really bad out there in the market. I can see it on the YouTube views. I can see it not just on my channel. I can see it on everyone else's channel. People are not interested in crypto at the moment. Okay, everything is a nightmare at the moment. It looks really, really bad out there. Right, so now let me explain this little scenario here to the downside. If the low is in, so let's now speculate. Okay, if 1, 2, 3, let's say we invalidate the fourth wave, we invalidate it, we tap the 1.618. Then it starts increasing the probabilities that you are forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure here to the upside. So you could still get a successful rejection. Look at that order block. Okay, if you don't know what an order block is, guys, and I'm going through these educational stuff because these are the questions that I get on a frequent basis. Dewald, what is an order block? An order block is this. When price falls, there's a small little order block and it falls, it consolidates, and then it falls and it consolidates. That is what we refer to as an order block. It creates resistance and support. Okay, so if price is falling to the downside and it comes back, these little order blocks offer resistance. So price could come up here, struggle, and then fall back down. So these little order blocks, especially when they align with Fibonacci levels, are really good areas to pay attention to for potential shorts. Okay. So now, legends, I want to look at this little structure. Okay. If you do attempt the short at the 0.618, like I've just highlighted, okay, you will invalidate the fourth wave because it needs to reject over here. Okay, it needs to reject unless it claims the high, and it, you know, as long as it does not tap the 0.618, there's still a chance to come and claim the lows. It's as simple as that. If it taps the 0.618, then there's a chance, okay, that you could form a higher low. Look at this beautiful support that is formed over here. Okay, you could form a higher low and continue, and maybe we start building that contracting diagonal to the upside that I've highlighted during the beginning of the stream. There's a chance, okay, but it needs to reject in this zone for me to look for longs, not at the low. Then I'll look for longs a little bit further up. You see how my strategy changes depending on where we reject and where we fall. If we fall from where we are right now, I will be looking for longs at the lows. If we first tap the 0.618, I will be looking for longs inside of, I will take a fib from the low to the high, and I will look for confluences. Okay, that looks like an interesting pivot over there. That looks like an interesting pivot, but this support, okay, looks really juicy. So if price comes down here and it rejects and it finds, it starts consolidating, it goes sideways, that's usually a sign of strength. You could turn around and reverse to back to the upside. Right, legends, now let me get to the point. Let me get to the point. So, okay, this is either, now I need to measure this out. Okay, so now let's look at this structure. One, let's say it's going to form a 5-wave structure. It's going to invalidate the fourth wave, so the low is protected. 1, 2, 3, we now need a fourth wave, and we need one more leg to the upside, okay, in a bullish structure. Invalidation for the fourth wave is very simple. You take your fib from the low to the high that we've now created, okay. Yeah, I mean, unless it forms a contracting diagonal, okay. But you want your fourth wave, the hardcore rule in Elliott wave theory, if this is an impulsive structure to the upside, this little bad boy cannot tap that pivot, not allowed to. The 50% is your maximum target for a fourth wave, but you want price to turn around before it hits the 50% because you're going to go into the territory of 1. It's not allowed. Okay, so for this to still play out, you want price to find support here, not tap the high of your first wave, and then we could go back up for another leg to the upside. But now remember, each impulse needs to correct itself. That's where I'm looking for the short at the 0.618. It could come down in a 3-wave structure, find support, and bounce back to the upside. So shorting opportunity, longing opportunity. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Remember to smash up that like button. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Let me go. Right, before I go through comments, I don't want to lose my strain of thought over here, legends. Okay, so there's a chance for one more fifth wave here to the upside. If I take a trend based fib just to make sure, well, does the levels balance? I take a fib from the low to the high to the low to see, well, where did the third wave end, or the C wave? It ended at the 1.618. On my Binance chart, Binance perpetual contracts, USDT, we front run that level by fucking $20, $50. It was so frustrating because I highlighted this trade inside the Legends Pro community this morning, and I said, guys, beautiful shorting opportunity. But on Bybit, on most of the other exchanges, this level got hit, and we got a nice little drop here to the downside at support. And this is where price is bouncing at the moment. But I mean, these trades, believe it or not, it looks small, but it is what you are looking for from a day trading perspective. You want to get in, you want to get out and wait for another trade, or leave some of the position open for lower levels, okay? But this trade, I unfortunately did not enter because my level got front run. But on the Bybit chart, it got tapped to perfection. Let me show you guys. If I go here to the Bybit chart, I was doing some analysis here on NIA. I'll share that a little bit later. If I go to the Bybit one, and I zoom into the 1 minute time frame, okay, look at this, right? 1.618 tapped to perfection. The trade that I highlighted that front run my level got the drop to the downside, found support, okay, and now what's it doing? Is it doing an A, B, C, okay, for further continuation, or is it building a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back to the downside? Okay, that's not the question, but I have explained what I'm looking for each scenario. So let's go back here to my chart. If I would say if this fourth wave taps the 0.5, okay, you're going to go into the territory of 1. But obviously if you tap the 0.618, you invalidate the fourth wave anyways. Okay, so if price falls here to the downside aggressively, it invalidates the scenario, and then it is an ABC, a 3-wave structure. When I say ABC, it's a 3-wave structure, it's a corrective structure. When I say impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it means that momentum can continue in that direction, and then the corrective structures, the ABCs, is just correcting that structure. Okay, so this could be the ABC that is done. It did. This is also, ladies and gentlemen, this is also a C-wave target. And this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a corrective structure, and it's going to, guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can build impulses now back to the downside. Okay. Right. And right, legends, so if we do not take this high again, because I can count 5 waves here. So remember, your A wave is a 5-wave structure. I can count, if I go into the 1 minute time frame, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in an A wave. A a 3-wave B wave structure, and then inside of your C wave, and this is what makes them confusing, is it a ABC or is it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because this leg has the exact same structure as a third wave and as a C wave. It has to have 5 waves, 5 waves. The only way you will know that you're getting another leg up, okay, is if you do not tap the 0.618, you create some bullish CVD and you make the leg to the upside. But I am generally not interested in trading this leg. I'm always interested to trade, after the 2 is in, I want to trade the C wave and I want to trade the third wave. And I don't care which one it is. They're going to get momentum to the upside. Okay. This is usually whether it's a third wave, okay, and this is my style of trading, legends. You could have a different style of trading, okay. So let's say we are going to go up for another high. When I'm in a long, so you could have played that break of trend, okay, beautiful break of trend over there. However you got into this trade, okay, I usually, when it's a third wave or a C wave, I don't care. This is where I close my position. If I was in a long over here, I usually close my position over here because you don't know if it's an ABC or if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would rather wait for the 4, 5 to finish and then I wait for the retracement to get back into a long. Okay, so I'm very patient. If price bounces here and it goes up and it breaks one more high and now I see a 5-wave structure, it is the retracement that I'm very interested in. Because of this, I know that there's a high chance that you can make a higher low. And this is why I take profits here, because if it's a C wave, you could build impulses back to the downside, and then I'm looking for the long from the lows that I've highlighted. Okay, cool, legends. That is basically what I wanted to discuss now. You know, this is the structure that is forming here. Okay, a lot of people are asking me, Dewald, is there still a chance for lower momentum? Yes, I mean, nothing is ever guaranteed in the market. Okay, well, like I highlighted yesterday, legends, here on the 15-minute time frame. Okay, we were discussing this little volume. Could the low be in? I showed everyone the signs. I also showed everyone and I told everyone, I am buying, it's my strategy. Price can still go down lower. I still have dry powder. I will just buy at lower levels. I love to buy fear. I could be completely wrong, or I'm buying at a spot where no one wants to buy and they're going to force them to buy into higher levels. But I did also highlight, okay, it looks very interesting, but there's too little data for me to say that the low is in. When we made the low there at $48,000 during the previous consolidation area, there was enough data for me to start speculating, okay, I think the low is in. There's not enough. There's just not enough data at the moment. There's still 50-50. We're gonna either go up or we're gonna build an impulsive structure in a contracting diagonal. It's just there's too little data to just say, I think the low is in, because based on what data am I telling you that? At the moment, the data is telling me it's 50-50. We're either going to find our feet over here, we're going to build an impulsive structure, and we're going to build the triangle. Okay, can you see there's too little data for me to even speculate on that? Or you have now an ABC that corrected this move, and you're going to continue impulses back to the downside. There is, based on what the structure looks like right now, it's 50-50. There's I don't know. I'm just trading the levels, and I know exactly which levels I'm going to long from, and I know exactly which levels I'm going to short from. Okay. Right, let me go through some comments. Dewald, when will this nightmare be over? Right, I'm not sure, legends. You know, Donald Trump is, I mean, the tariff wars are on at the moment. Donald Trump fires tariff increases for China, and then China fires back at Donald Trump and the US. So most likely the nightmare will be over when these countries actually sit around the table and they negotiate some deals and they are both happy, and you know, and I think that is when the nightmare is going to end. But for now, the tariff wars are strong at the moment, okay? No one wants to budge. It's egos playing, you know, countries' egos playing against each other. And I think as long as the tariff wars are going on at the moment, I don't think we're going to see any strength from crypto or any risk on asset. Can you look at BTC liquidation heat map 6 months? Let's go check that out. Choo choo choo, doo 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 doo. Heat map. Let's go to 6 months. Okay, I might have to just take my face here out the way so you guys can see. And let's go to 6 months. Yes, the 70, Chris, I agree with you. The $72,000 area looks really juicy to me as well. Okay, this little $72,000 area. And, okay, this area also aligns with the 1.618, okay, that I've highlighted in the beginning of the live stream. Keep an eye on this level, legends. Take your trend-based FIB from this high that we've created to the lowest point. This three-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, you take it until that lowest point. You can even go and snap it on with a magnet if you want to get it exactly the way that it needs to be. Then you take it to the highest point in this structure over here. You drag it across. Okay, and you can see that this FIB, this 1.618 zone, okay, I will really call it a zone, but you can see how beautifully these FIB levels get respected. You tap it, you get a massive bounce to the upside. You tap it, you got a bounce. You tap it, you got a bounce. I mean, the momentum was aggressive to the downside, but the fact that you reacted at each level gives the FIB pool higher probability to play out. So this 1.618 together with the 0.618 on the 12-hour time frame from the low to the high, like I've just shown in the beginning of the live stream. Also, okay, so you have confluence over here and you also have liquidity confluence. It's in the same zone, because it's not to say, just remember guys, it's not to say that you have to do this. It's not to say that price has to do that. Okay, I've often seen these levels. What will sometimes happen is it will tap it, it will bounce, and then it will do it again, and you will have that nice little wick to the downside. But what's important is price is struggling to lose the level. It dips below every time, and then it keeps on trading above, and it shows you that price wants to roll back up. Okay, it could make those triple bottoms here to the downside even, but you know, that's a sign of strength. It breaks, it taps it, it's not trading below. It leaves those wicks behind. Okay, right. Let me just put my face back here. Here we go. Right, there we go. Mr. Chris, so yes, that's just another area of confluence. Okay, looking at that liquidity heat map at $72,000. Right, so you have the 1.618, you have the 0.618. You have the liquidity. So, you know, the levels are lining in that zone. Okay, Dewald, can it be an ABC from 88K as an A wave, and now we're forming B to the upside? From 88, yeah, an A wave. I don't like it as an A wave, I'll be honest with you, okay? I would have liked to see a 5-wave structure in an A wave. Yes, I think it can be an A wave, but for me it doesn't carry high probability. I see what you're saying. It's like, you know, what if this is an A? Firstly, it looks very much like a 3-wave structure, okay? A waves can be 3-wave structures, but based on the WXY scenario that I spoke about yesterday, I wanted to see a 5-wave A-wave structure. Okay, and the fact that we bounced here and we invalidated a 5-wave structure in an A-wave, okay, but yes, we could entertain the scenario to say that, well, what if this is an A-wave? Okay, this is now forming a B back to the upside. And then you're going to create the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to the downside. Okay, So for me, it doesn't really matter how you count it because I'm looking at the same areas of I'm looking for a rejection. Whether you count this as a 1, 2, 3, whether you count this as an A, B, C, can you see? It doesn't matter how you count it. I'm looking at the same levels for rejection because they both reject at the same levels. The only difference is if it's a 1, 2, 3 to the downside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to get another 4, 5. That's the only difference. And then the retracement is going to be very interesting for an ultimate short to the downside. If we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the downside, it's going to look very bad, legends. It's going to look very bad. Okay. I think we might just need to accept that we are inside of a bear market. Okay. I think with the stuff that's happening around the world with the tariff wars, okay, maybe they have sparked a bear market. And premature, it's going to invalidate a lot of models. It's one of those things. I will just hold on to my spot bags. That's what I do. I will just buy lower and buy lower and DCA until we eventually turn around. But I'm not going to cash out at a loss. Okay, I think the areas for me, the areas we're buying in right now is for me the right zone. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. But remember, legends, if you'd like to come and trade with me and qualify for the biggest sign-up bonuses and lowest trading fees, okay, weeks down in the description. I cleaned up the description so it makes nice sense. I've got weeks and bluffing. That's it. And here's our Legends Legends trading community if you'd like to come and join and get some additional alpha during the day from our coaches as well. Okay, weeks, you deposit $2,000. You get $1,000 to trade with. Mahala, for free. You deposit $50, you get $25. You deposit $1,000, you get $500. You have to wait 48 hours to 72 hours. So you need to leave the money in the account. I see there's a lot of messages that I get from people saying I didn't get the bonus or whatever the case might be, only to find out that they didn't follow the rules in terms of how to get the bonus. Okay, so if you deposit up to the maximum $2,000, in maximum 72 hours, you will get $1,000 to trade with. Additional on top of your money. Okay, so you'll basically have $3,000 to trade with. You also get 25% discount on your trading fees. And then all you need is an email and a password. You don't even have to submit your documentation. Okay. Cool, legends. Those are basically the scenarios. Let's go through some more comments. Morning, legends. Gonna be a big night surf. Ooh. Scalping, let's get it on, right? But legends, inside, I hope you guys now understand. For those of you that's been here since the beginning of the live stream, you will know, okay, I have now explained all the scenarios, yeah, and exactly what I'm looking for from a longing and a shorting perspective. Okay, if price continues to fall down here, I will be looking for a long from the lows. Okay, I just want to figure out, is there a chance for this fifth wave to go down that low? It doesn't really make sense to me, okay? Because people might say, well, Dewald, what if it goes to the one? Well, we all know, okay? This is a zone to pay attention to for a potential long. Like this one, look at that nice bounce here to the upside. It was a $4,000 bounce. That is quite significant from a day trading perspective. Okay, but now what I want to try and figure out is that if this is forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can the fifth wave reach this zone? Is there a chance? Okay, let's do this. Reverse it. Oh man, this is beautiful. Okay, another way to measure a fifth wave target, because I've shown you guys one way to do it. Here's another way to do it. Okay, you can either take your trend base fib from the low, from the high of 1. So if this is 1, 2, 3, this is 4, and it's now going to build a fifth wave to the downside. There's 3 ways to do it, but I'm only sharing two ways now. You take a fib from the high to the low to the high, and you get that 0.618 or the 786 that I've highlighted. Another way to do it is you take it from the low to the high and you reverse your fib. Let it fall to the, you go into your settings and you reverse it as such, right? Reverse. There we go. Reverse over there. Okay, you'll see if I click reverse again, then it just throws the levels back to the upside. That's basically what the reverse feature does. Okay, so reverse your fib, and now this is where it becomes interesting, is that this little zone over here between the 1.236 and the 1.382 is a fifth wave target, but also the 1.618, which aligns with the bigger 1.618. So there is a chance for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get all the way down here. There is a chance. I would prefer it to go down this low because now I can get a better entry. I don't have to wait for acceptance back above these lows over here. Okay, because if you are going to successfully find your feet, if Bitcoin is going to successfully find its feet over here, I can get a much better entry. I will wait for price to dip below and get acceptance back above. I have my stop loss, I have my entry. Look at how great the risk management is. If you're going to wait for price to recover back above the lows, okay, and it does this, and you enter over here, now you have a stop loss that's further away, which means you have to use less capital. Okay, so, I mean, if price can come and tap these levels in the fifth wave here to the downside, that would be absolutely a nice little longing opportunity. Grab that liquidity at $72,000. Get the reaction. Let's get the momentum here back to the upside. There's a high chance, okay, once you reject over here, or once you find support over here, that you could come back to $81,000, $82,000. So that could be a nice little epic trade back to the upside, okay? So that is, in summary, the one scenario. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has to reject there. It can't go further up. If price makes another high over here, then I'm going to say, okay, now we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the upside. And now the retracement, you could form a higher low, not take the lows. You could have a trend, you play the breakout of the trend, you get in at the SFP, however you want to play this trade, okay, and it could continue here to the upside inside of this box without taking the lows. So I hope this shows you how I'm approaching the markets. I need this to happen for that. I need that to happen for this. Okay. Right, legends. Thank you so much for watching the live stream. I will definitely be going live a little bit later again. I just wanted to do a quick little update here so that we don't miss out on the trading opportunities. And hopefully you are trading with the links down in the description to also support the channel, and so that I can continue bringing you guys the alpha over here. Legends, have yourselves an amazing trading day. Please trade safe, exercise good risk management. Until the next one, cheers for now.